Hey, what is going on, guys? Last week, we discussed the buff to the pump shotgun in Project Era Season 6, which I think was an excellent change for the game, and it seemed like a lot of you agreed that that was a step in the right direction. And the great news is this week, they've launched another update where they've done more adjustments, which I think are really positive. So in today's video, we'll talk about the unvaulting of the gold bolt action sniper, and also the unvaulting of the bouncers, and then we'll also talk about the introduction of visualized sound effects to where you still can have actual audio in the game. Okay, let's start out with the gold bolt action unvault. So this unvault actually happened in Era 2023 during Season 6, so it's kind of familiar in that sense, but this is a really good change. The gold bolt action is only marginally better than the purple one. You have 116 damage instead of 110, and you have a 2.7 reload instead of 2.8. That barely makes a difference compared to the purple one, but I still think this is a good change, right? It gives you another viable option to play around with. If you like to use the gold bolt action, by all means take it. It's a competitive weapon, but if you don't like to use the bolt action, you don't have to take it. I think this is great. Introducing weapons that are viable and some people will enjoy, but not you don't have to carry because it's not overpowered, I think is an excellent decision, and this is a nice unvault. Next up, we have the unvaulting of the bouncers as well. Again, I think it's a good addition. Bouncers, I think, are slightly less useful in this version than previous versions, because with bouncers, you could use them to get off a mountain without dying from fall damage. Since we have glider redeploy, not quite as useful there, but they're still a useful item. I mean, you can use them to get some extra height and then glide a little bit further. You can, pair them with a launch pad to get a super high jump. It's great. They're not particularly overpowered, just another nice option to have around. Overall, I think it's a solid change. Finally, let's talk about the change to visualized sound effects. Previously, if you enabled visualized sound effects, it would disable your entire game audio. So if you were deaf or couldn't get speakers or headphones for whatever reason, you'd want to use them. But for everybody else, I really said, no, it doesn't make sense to use it because you can't tell what weapon's being shot at you. For example, you can't tell whether it's a AR or a pump shotgun or a sniper or anything like that, right? But now you have sound, and critically, you have directional audio still. So overall, I think for the vast majority of people, you'll just want to turn this on because you can then more clearly see which way shots and people moving are coming from, but you still have the directional audio. When we had a Project Era Season 8, I'd say it was more 50-50 because you had visual sound effects and sound, but the sound was restricted to a mono setup to where you couldn't tell left and right. So for example, at super long range, you could hear shots. It wouldn't show up on your visualized sound effects. You'd have no idea where it was coming from. But since you have directional audio in this version, that's really not a problem. For the vast majority of you, you should turn it on. And with that, I'm really happy to see these adjustments. This is exactly the way I want Era to go, where they're willing to make some adjustments to improve the game, not just purely sticking to exactly how 6.21 was, right? There can be some nice adjustments. I hope they keep doing this because this is a really good step in the right direction, and player counts have been very high lately. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.